Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of At Home with the Willises. I am Nikki Willis, and
I'm Jameen.
today's topic is the work from home era over? If you're watching this from home and you're supposed to be at work, see, that's going to be an issue, but that's okay. We're going to talk about it. But first, you're at home with the Willises. So before we get started, I want to remind you to subscribe right down there below. Hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so that you're notified every time we upload new content. We're working on something right now, so you definitely want to be the first to know about it. So hit that bell. Also, we are global, y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching it in other countries. And if you want to advertise on our show, we've had a few, which is awesome. So if you want to advertise on our show, make sure you email Jenn at JENN at thewillisteamlv.com. And we would love to try whatever you have. Okay, almost whatever you have. Just be careful with us, okay? But we would love to try it on this show. How about that? All right. Let's see. Is the work from home era over? I don't know. First of all, I just thought about this. Like the work from home era really did start around COVID time.
Yeah.
Which was 4 years ago.
That was Jen's favorite era.
That was your favorite?
I like being home.
You liked or you still like?
I love it.
You love.
Today.
Jen loves working from home. Okay. I don't mind it either though. Like I like it. I actually like being able to work anywhere. Mm-hmm. So at home, coffee shop, library, like just wherever. I just like to take my laptop and go.
I view it as an accessory, like working from home. Like sometimes you gotta work even when you go back home, but just working from home, no, that's not my forte. We're gonna talk about some of the reasons why coming up in just a few seconds. But so you like being able to work anywhere.
Yeah.
Jen likes to be work at home, and I like office, so we like all three.
Yeah, we're very diverse in this thought process. But let's get into it. So as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, which forced a shutdown, many companies and organizations realized, or at least thought, their employees could work remotely. Many companies walked away from their offices and didn't renew their leases. That's why commercial space is readily available, just like hint.
Yeah.
And this shift in traditional in-office 5-day work week schedule was either eliminated or modified. And many workers discovered they enjoyed working from home, i.e. me and Jen. However, it looks as if this experiment didn't work out as planned, and many companies have started requiring RTO, which is return to office, in a schedule that looks similar to pre-pandemic office hours and attendance requirements. Daggone. Okay, first, before we get started in this, I want to know, do you work from home? Do you like working from home? Are you one of those people that have been called on to come back to work? I want to know. So put all of that in the comments, because we got to read all of this.
We should do a poll on social media too. Like, do you like working from home?
Oh yeah.
Or do you like working in the office?
We'll put a poll up. We'll put a poll up in our Willis Team LV Instagram. By the way, if you're not following us on there, make sure you do that. We have clips from this show that go on there, so definitely do that. But that would be an interesting question to know. Mm-hmm. Like, do you like working from home? Some people don't like working from home.
I don't. I do not.
I don't know why not.
For me, like, regardless of COVID or whatever, it's a lot of distractions at home. So, when you in work, I like to be like in work mode, but with at home, you get a lot of distractions. We talk about the distractions of like TV, catching up on TV shows. You start thinking about all the stuff that you need to do around the house, like doing laundry, taking out the garbage. Next thing you know, it's 1:45 and you ain't did nothing yet. You've been doing household chores for several hours, you know what I'm saying? Or watching 47 episodes a month. So
that sounds like you. That's interesting.
yeah, it could be a distraction.
Because
But
I personally, I don't really like the TV on. You know, I will sit right here and just be locked in. Now, I might have a little load running though, but that's multitasking. That's not a distraction to me. You see what I'm saying? I throw a little something in the crock pot or whatever.
next thing you know, it's 1:45 and you ain't did nothing
for
but
me,
open
it's
your laptop.
multitasking. I run a business, and I'm still a mom, still white. You know what I'm saying? So for me, the multitasking is where it's at for me. What about you, Jen?
I do all of the things too. Yeah, I'm gonna put the load of laundry in,
Course.
and then I'm gonna do my thing,
We'll
and then I
answer
gotta
some
call my
emails.
mama back about something real quick, and then
we
all of the things.
And I'm texting back or what, like. And I will say this though, I don't know where it begins and where it ends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing
Because
too. Yeah.
I have to, like, I try not to. I try to have office hours, but do they really work? Because I've sent a text message at 7:30 in the morning. I've sent a text message or an email at 9:50 at night. So, and then I most of the time have to pick up the kid from school. So that has to. So there is a lot of stop, start, but it's become my routine. So I guess it doesn't really bother me. It doesn't really bother me that much.
Yeah, I think it's helping, you know, like we talk about having to stop and smell the roses or turn it off. It helps to turn off, on and off when you change your location. Like it makes a big difference. Just like we was talking about a couple episodes before about the difference between taking a real vacation and going somewhere and taking a staycation. When you take a staycation, you still know like 15, 20 minutes you could be back home. So it's like
So you don't really turn it all the way off?
Yeah, you don't turn it all the way off. So I think it's the same thing with like work. Like, of course, you want to use technology and, you know, options to your advantage. So you can work from home if you need to, or if you got a light day. Even if you don't, I'm not saying like, oh, you got to be in the office, but like, you know, like going to a coffee shop and say, okay, I'm going to work here for 3 hours, but just changing your location from like home or leisure or whatever, like whether it's a coffee shop or office or
I wrote most of my
satellite.
book in the coffee shop. Most
I think
of my
the
book was
industry
written.
matters too, though, because there are
That's
some
true.
things that you're not expected to do anything when you're not on the clock. So when I worked for the state, if you called me at 5:02, I can't help you until Monday at 8:00.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you're done. Business hours.
Right. So whereas now, like, you know, in even working with you guys, and then on my side as a business owner, yeah, if you call me 2 minutes after, you
don't
expect
have-
to
yeah.
reach me still.
Yeah.
So
But I think also it has taken boundaries. See, I really do believe like you said, it depends on what industry, but I also think it depends on the person. Because some people were forced to work remote and they just didn't do well, and they hated going, you know, working remote because maybe they like interacting with people, or you know, I'm not that type of person. Like I like interacting with people, but not like in an office setting. If that makes sense.
Right.
I can't be in the same space for that long. Like it doesn't work for me. But I think it matters in the industry, and I think it matters the type of person. Some people are excited about going back to the office.
You know what I think I just thought about?
Jen's face is like,
I like the idea of going to an office because I don't like necessarily working around or with other people. So I like a separate office where I
you
can
want
like,
he
your
wants his
cubicle.
cubicle.
yeah, where I can like think and work and stuff, like my own space. But getting back to like the reason why they had the whole work from home era and now it seems like it may be over, I think COVID gave us a false sense of reality because all these companies was like, oh, we can still exist and our companies don't have to shut down. We can go from working from home. But it gave us a false sense of reality because during COVID, everybody else was home too. So it worked. So when people started to go back outside, they had other options. And so I think it gave a false sense of reality because it was like, oh, we can do Zoom, we can work from home, just do emails. And companies like, oh, we didn't have to close our doors, but that was because everybody else was stuck at home too. So when people started to go back outside and they had options of things, it kind of messed up the, oh shoot, well maybe we can't just stick to this. You know what I mean?
I wonder if they've seen a real dip in productivity. That has to be the reason. Because if productivity didn't change or bottom line didn't change, I don't think they would have had a problem. But it must be productivity. Hey, yo, we're losing money. You know, they probably seen enough people in pajama bottoms for sure. I'm sure of that.
Well, no, I think a lot of it was that since people weren't in a particular location, companies are like, okay, we can send these jobs to countries or areas where we can pay $1 an hour or what have you. So then now Americans are like, wait, but my job.
Yeah.
And so they had to make that make sense.
Outsourcing also was a factor. Like, you could lose this. Like, you're working remote. We can also find someone else that works remote and pay.
In Sri Lanka.
Right. And pay probably a fraction of the price without benefits and all the things.
That got a negative effect too, because you know when we were doing our virtual assistants, a lot of times they just don't understand. Yeah, they work for $1.47 an hour, but they don't understand the
we had some good ones and some bad ones.
And sometimes people just like when they hear that accent, they're like, "Oh, this is about to be a bad experience." So they already got a preconceived like
notion that
you don't want to be that person. Like, can I talk to an American, please?
Yeah,
you don't want to be that guy.
You want to be that person, and they be like, "I live in Massachusetts. I'm right here." You're like, "Oh, my bad." Like thinking it's somebody a virtual person over in another country, but I think that has a negative effect. So we can go back to the different companies, but I got some statistics of why companies are doing this mandates. It says that 72% of companies says return to office has improved revenue.
Okay.
Only 2% say their company never plans to require employees to return to work in person. And that definitely is industry specific. Like some places just really don't need a physical presence there. And 28% will threaten to fire employees who don't comply with return to office policies on there. So I was talking to a friend of ours, and she works for Audible. And she said the reason why they relocated and stuff was because they said that they could work from home. But now they're saying that people have to return to the office, and they're like, "Oh shoot!"
At a certain time,
and then it's like you have to find the closest like office to where you're at, so you could possibly have to. A lot of people make relocation decisions based upon being able to work from home.
We moved a lot of people to Las Vegas who had remote jobs. I mean, a lot.
I know
for me, it was great because I'm like, great, you still work, you work a full-time job, and you can work wherever you want to. And people made like their home purchases, based upon the fact that it don't have to be close to my job. I work from home. So that's going to be quite interesting if you, if you live in Las Vegas, you know what I'm talking about. If you live in Henderson, but you might have to report all the way up in Sky Canyon, that's going to make a big difference in your commute.
Every day? Ooh.
The biggest thing is a different city. Like, if you move from Cali and then you got to drive back, even if it's across the state lines, that's just a long commute for work.
Well, they have to,
a lot of those tech people left California.
Yeah. I can't imagine being in HR at this time, because what do you do? Everybody has a different situation at this point. Like, there's no blanket solution. There's no, all right, this applies to every single person, because people live in different time zones at this point.
Yeah.
Like, our girl, she lives here, but they're still on East Coast time. So she has to like clock in at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Many people have to do that. And then they work till 2, and then they got the rest of the day. But many people do that now. And if I'm in HR, I'm like, Lord, have mercy. I can't imagine, but 90% of companies are supposed to return to the office by now, 2024.
Yeah.
And Amazon has sent out a like a rollout plan, and I think everybody's supposed to be back in the office by 2025. Ooh, child.
Yeah.
But you guys remember that prior to COVID, a lot of the entrepreneur space was all about like, oh, you can get these jobs where you can work remote and you could work from anywhere and you can be on the beach in Belize.
Yeah.
And like that's what they were pushing.
They were pushing that, and they were pushing like there's
like
a whole community
freelancers.
of working remote. What do they call it though? Digital nomad. Digital nomad life. So you can be in Cancun or in Colombia for 3 months and still keep your job. But that was like a trend though. That was like a small percentage versus when COVID forced everybody to work from home or whatever. And I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
This is also like, if you think about it, it's higher end jobs. So like options and stuff like that and flex, they usually are higher end jobs. Like if you work at Rallies, you gotta go to Rallies. Or if you work somewhere on the conveyor,
you've been there.
you work on a conveyor belt, you go in there to work.
You've been there.
But some of these companies, so these are like more like office executive things. So let's go over some of the companies. So Amazon says it's requiring employees to return to the office 5 days a week.
That's a regular work
Regular work days. JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, they abandoned their hybrid policies and implemented a full return to office mandate. Then you got your big names, Apple, Starbucks, and IBM. They're requiring employees to come in at least 3 days a week.
Yeah, these are corporate jobs. Because if you work at Starbucks and you are a barista, you've been there.
Yeah, you.
So these are the. If you're a manager at
Oh,
Starbucks,
but
you've
they
been
do
there
have
already.
the thing.
These are corporate jobs.
They didn't have this during COVID, but they trying this out. Like fast food line, you got your mic on from your house, and you taking people's order through the drive-through with your thing.
Interesting.
I don't need you kicking back your feet. Can you imagine somebody in their lazy boy, feet crossed, talking about some welcome to McDonald's? Can I take your order? I would be furious.
They already mess up your order when they're right there in front of your face.
How you know the ice cream machine ain't broke? You at home.
I do like when you go
How
to
you know the McFlurry machine broke?
Jen's favorite fast food restaurant, Taco Bell. At first I was mad because they was getting rid of the older people to take the order. So you put it on the screen, it's less prone to error because you're actually punching in like no tomato, no sour cream or whatever. You could punch it in. So I do like that, but I don't like the fact that it's taking away potential jobs. But yeah, I've seen that people are trying out doing like remote fast food ordering, and then it's just only like it's less people. It's only like one person to hand you. Yeah, like less people in there. So
somebody to make sure the machines are working right, and then somebody that is just gonna hand you your food.
McDonald's.
I'm gonna tell you, all of those jobs that they say that you don't have to be in the building for, you're not gonna be in the country for very long. So those are gonna be outsourced.
Yeah, I mean
Nike, they were requiring employees to come in 4 days a week. So you get a little casual Friday flex day, but they want you to come back into the office. I like
people used to just stress out about casual Friday. Like, are
whether
we wearing
or not
jeans
you can wear
or
jeans.
not? That was, gone are the days. Gone are the days. Now, people got underwear options at this point.
I
like,
get
are
it.
you wearing bottoms or not? Like, we up here with it.
I get it. One thing that I always paid attention to, and it definitely depends on the person, but I grew up in a real estate family. And I saw my uncle be very successful, but he would always still go into the office. And the people who didn't make a lot of money or weren't top producers back in the day didn't come into the office. Because back in the day, it wasn't so heavily relying on technology. So it's like if you're in the office, another agent would tell you about a deal or a new listing that they got or something that they needed, and you might have the deal or the buyer or something that person needed, or they gave you a referral to a loan officer that could get a certain program that your buyer needed or something like that. It just kind of gets your headspace in the workflow for a lot of people. But also, I know the exact opposite. I know some major top producers that never come into the office. But for the most part, a lot of the, even if you go into like most, if you just take real estate industries, a lot of the top producing agents have, if they're not in there, they have a team of people that are in there in office. Go in the real estate office and you'll see the top producing agents or teams that either they're in there or they have some staff or something in there. So, you know, it definitely depends on the industry, definitely depends on the person. So I think you got to be, just like with anything else, you got to be kind of disciplined. You got to be disciplined to be an entrepreneur. 100%. For sure, you know, because you always got the option to work from home, or you start off working from home.
And not eat.
Not a thing.
And not eat, yeah.
But we talking about today, we talking more corporations. So let's go over some of the reasons why companies are asking employees to return to the office. So number one, like we talked about before, was improved productivity. So some companies believe that employees are more productive in the office. So I definitely get that, because especially like if you're on a clock, when you used to be on a clock and you're not on a salary, you know, it's productivity. Like yesterday, I was just at a restaurant yesterday, and the server came out and she was like all bummed out, and we was like, "You were fine a couple minutes ago. Like, what happened?" Like her whole attitude changed. She was like, the owner came in to eat dinner, so now we have to go by the book. And I'm like, well, dang, on one note, I'm like, oh, that's crazy. But then, like, me thinking as a business owner, I'm like, well, dang, what you doing with...
Hey, when the cat's away, the mice gonna play. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that's increased productivity because she was...
I'm like, did she put extra butter on the mashed potatoes?
I mean, like, what's
like,
going
what are we
on?
doing?
Like, what is by the book is what I'm
As a business owner, that was concerning for me. Like, well, dang, what you doing when she's not here? Like, you know what I mean? So,
that's concerning.
That's like,
we need to talk about that afterwards.
And I'm like, where did we go?
Yeah, we need to
no,
talk
it's
about
like
that.
Alicia Keys when she was singing "You Don't Know My Name." She was like, "The boss make us use water." You know what I'm saying? You know, bottom line shrinking because she pouring milk in there. They got to do more milk orders. So, increased productivity is a big thing. Okay. And both of these, I gotta say, I agree with. Improved culture. So some companies believe that it's easier to learn, model, and practice their culture when employees are in the office together. So yeah, if you have a company culture, core values, and stuff like that, it's easier to manage and keep up with that company core culture and values. And companies spend a lot of money to make sure that their employees were like more happy in the workplace, or things that they take breaks. I remember like watching like big like facilities and campuses like Google and places, they would put like ping pong and workout facilities.
The Zappos campus in Vegas is really cool.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about some of the stuff that was in
pit and everything in there.
They got a ball pit? See, I'd be that's where I'd be. Yeah. I'd be going down a slide and carrying on.
And so that's how they recruit like really smart, like Gen Z, Gen X, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's
at the time we were it was the millennials.
Back in the days.
Said that was us then.
Yeah, that was us. We
were the young
slide.
people. Now
slides were the thing.
Now
man.
we're the senior
executives. Like, we're like, what's benefits for my family? But
Square has a slide at their St. Louis location.
See, it was the slides back in the day. You just and then
they have restaurants, brand name restaurants in some of the places.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like stuff. Early 2000s, people were getting like real restaurants, like a Chick-fil-A or a Burger King or a Starbucks. You had a Starbucks in your place of business. Yeah. Oh, I'll be back.
That's like the hospitals. Like I remember you could get
remember
Wendy's and Starbucks at like what's the Christ Hospital.
That's how I got
in
hooked on
Ohio.
cappuccinos. Because as an intern, they had a Starbucks where I worked. My goodness, I would have 3 of those a day, and that was really bad withdrawal. By the way, don't try that. Do not try that. Because after my internship was over, I had no more cappuccinos. But yeah, it was. Oh yeah. So we'll probably be seeing a lot of that because a lot of people don't. There are a lot of people that do want to go back, but I would say probably more people don't want to go back.
You know what I would do?
I would just venture to
If I was if I had a big place like that, I think I was talking to some guys last night, and we were talking about the cost of daycare. So if you could do some type of, have your daycare, like, it'd be like party sitters at work. So have a daycare
The
at
Venetian
work.
has that. They
and
have
it not
on-site
be so
childcare.
daggone
The
expensive.
Venetian
does?
The Venetian
Good.
Hotel has
Yeah,
on-site
because then
childcare.
you don't have to drive for to drop your
UNLV
kid
has
off.
childcare.
Yeah, they do.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not cheap though.
Really?
Even for employees, it's not
it's
cheap.
still a
no.
mortgage, huh?
I'm like, when I worked on campus, that was one of my places that I worked, and it's still expensive.
Really? They just like, but it's just here.
Yeah,
So you, don't
don't
have
have
to
to
see
go
your
far.
baby if you want to. Ooh.
But I like that because, you know, like if your child gets sick or something like that, you got to leave work, drive somewhere far, and then pick them up and then find somewhere. So if they, like, something happens, you going over across the street to the campus or something like that. And if they could have, like, an employee benefits, like something like a health care or a 401k that makes it more affordable.
That's another thing that corporations started to include, like little minute clinic type of things. So
Hey, you
they
can
wanted
call
you to
in.
stay your butt.
You got a medical issue, call this number first.
Go ahead and, like, seriously, like for your checkup and everything. That was on site for a company that I used to work for. It was on site. They didn't have daycare though, and that's probably because the demographic was a lot older. And that's probably why they didn't. They probably have it now, but they're a lot older, and it was mostly men as well. So, but they did include something for nursing moms, which closer to the time that I left, they included something for nursing moms. And these are the types of things. If people are gonna come back, you gotta really, really make it convenient for people. Like, you have to make it to where this is an offer that they can't refuse. So daycare, so if I'm a nursing mom, a little clinic in there, shoot, go and throw a car wash or something. Go and throw
Well,
a
they got
car
the
wash.
mobile car washes that pull up to places.
Detail my car while I'm at work. Something.
I hate to make it sound unfair, but I would focus on
Meal
women.
prep.
I would
Meal
focus
prep
on
me.
Meal prep.
If I'm there from 9 to 5, let me pick up my little meal prep. Take
I
it
would
home,
focus
throw it
on
in.
women. I would have daycare there. I would have nursing stations. I would get the
Gonna
women
have to be
back.
something.
Get the women back to work.
What do we need to entice you to come to the office, Jen? What would you need? You don't need daycare. We have teenagers, so daycare is out.
I don't need the daycare, but honestly, the space that we have available now, my son does like going there, so that's
does.
something. He just needs some kind of video game option
I
on
just
the
walk
TV.
in there, I'm like, oh, hey.
So
like, hey.
Is that hybrid enough for you, Jen? It's a
Okay,
home,
so what
it's
this
a
is-
home
It is.
office.
You just
Yeah,
gotta
just
stock the refrigerator with
Stock
the Trader Joe's.
refrigerator and with some gluten-free options,
Yeah.
and then video games for the boys, and then we're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can never get them out. I have to put that in one of the bedrooms.
Yeah, just
'cause
put it
they'd
in
be
one of
a
the
common
rooms
area
and-
space.
Good to
There
go.
you go.
Oh, we
That's
could do a
hilarious.
game room in there.
It could be a game room.
That flex room, yeah. Oh, okay. There we
It
go.
could be- It could be a game
Another-
room. They will. We could do that. We could do
Yep.
that. There we go. Jen's coming back to the office, y'all.
But you know what? To think about it as a business owner, here's what I think about. Would you rather not work from home or not work? Because if productivity goes down, the numbers go down, you ain't gonna have no reason to work from home because we ain't gonna have no job no more.
Yeah, but
so
I think
if productivity gets too low, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's a sink or swim.
Yeah, but I think nowadays people have options now, and people have become very resourceful. Not only are people working from home or working remotely, people do have side hustles.
People have 3 or 4 full-time jobs that are all remote, and they just clicking buttons here and there.
And just moving right along. So it's not necessarily like you that argument doesn't hold as much weight as it did before. Like, would you rather work from home or would you rather work in the office or you rather not work? People be like, I got options. I got options. Yeah. So corporations are really going to have to make it something that they can't refuse. Like, you're gonna have to entice people to come back. Because some people are really upset that they have to go back to work. I understand. I get it. Pajama bottoms are the most comfortable thing. Hands down.
I don't even wear pajama
so
bottoms.
Are yoga pants.
That's why I'm in the office.
So are yoga pants. Yeah. But I'm mostly out in the field at half time anyway. But, to be able to...
I like your yoga pants, by the way. I like the yoga pants.
See, this is what happens when you work with your spouse.
Side note.
But, you think about, and we can talk about work-life balance and all that stuff. People being able to work when their kids are around.
Now that's a negative too. That's another thing too. Especially in the summer when your kid, your kid is like, "What we having for lunch?" Stop yelling at the TV, the video game when you work from home.
If you watch some of the ones that we had in the summertime, you can hear a little kid upstairs. I'm like, get it, stop. That is Jonathan. Now that's what he was doing at the time, playing his video games.
You saw that dude on the news and his kid came in that room when the news was going on.
He was trying to, man, that poor, I don't know if that was the mom or the nanny or whoever, honey. If that was an argument, I'm sure. But some people like being able to drop their kid off or pick their kid up. Like, it's easier for me, to be able to, go pick my son up from school.
Mm-hmm. Now, before I left so I used to work for the Department of Welfare years ago. But anyway, shortly after I left, they implemented a program where you could bring your infant. Like, as long as your child wasn't mobile to where they would be able to walk around and leave the room, you could bring your infant to the office with you while you were working. And I didn't get to see how well that program went, but it was a thing.
Really?
Yeah, they were getting ready to start it right when I was leaving. So I had to call and ask, but you could have that.
How that worked out
in the office. At the welfare office, no less.
Yeah,
which is wild.
That's
wild.
Under two policy, as long as they stay in the car seat or something like that.
No, it was they had to not be
walking.
They're
not crawling. Yeah, they're not even.
They had to be.
They're in a bassinet.
Confined.
Yeah.
Let's go over some of the negative effects of this return to work. So, some say that return to office mandates could cause companies to lose good employees. Some reasons for this include, like I said before, work-life balance.
Yeah.
Employees have moved or have family responsibilities that require a flexible schedule. Now, I'm totally cool with flexible, because if I want to be flexible, I want people to work for my company to be flexible. I don't want people to feel like if something is wrong, they can't go drop their kid off or something. Just don't abuse
and like, as long as your stuff is done.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's my thing. It's like, as long as stuff is done.
I don't know, Jen. Cool. You don't want to be having to hire, so.
It's cool till they start doing it to you.
Yeah, right.
So that's one. Preference for remote work. Some people like working remotely and don't want to return to an office environment. I'm cool with remote work too. And then the third is unwanted turnover. So when the job market starts to tilt more in the employee's favor, companies may see unwanted turnover. Like you said, people saying, I got options. But you may have less options than you think. You quit a job because they require you to come back to the office. And you find out all these other companies are requiring people to return back to the office too.
I don't need this. Remember
or TikTok doesn't pay as much as they said they do.
You get that 37-cent check from TikTok. You're gonna be wait a minute. But, everybody hates Christmas. She was like, I don't need this. My husband got 2 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be some of y'all. But no, seriously, like if you step out here on this entrepreneurship life, you better really step out, because it's not for the faint of heart. So definitely weigh those pros and cons. We work for ourselves, and we work probably at least 80 hours a week.
I think I like being in the office too, because like I was just thinking the other day, like somebody asked me, a couple people asked me recently, like, what's the off day for you? And I was like,
How about what's an off day?
Yeah, because unless we go on vacation, I was like, I don't really have off days. I have like hours where I take off. I don't seldom a whole day. It's like, oh, I'm not going to work today because I do 3-4 different things. I schedule like time throughout the day that I may do something, like, oh, I may go smoke a cigar, or we may go get a massage or something like that. But just wiping out a whole day and be like, I'm off today, unless I'm out of town, it seldom happens.
And we're working on it.
Yeah.
So I know y'all.
So that's why I like the office
you need an
hours.
off day. And also there are seasons where, like, there's just seasons, and like right now we're in a season where we just been grinding, and then, you know, once that system is built, then we can kind of like relax a little bit, because now the system is built, it's running, it's working. So it kind of, I would say it ebbs and flows when we're talking about some days, like, or, you know, some seasons we don't have a lot of off time. We don't have a lot of off days, but that's usually when we're like building something. And we got to build the system. We got to put the gears and all the things together so that they make sense, so that it can run on its own. Because we don't ever, like, we now have parts of our business that run on its own, but because we're growing and building, we're building something else now. So I think it ebbs and flows. And right now, we're definitely in a season where we're like grinding season. But we were able to take a vacation this year, which was great. And like, that was cool. And the business ran on its own. So it's like, ding, ding, ding. That's great.
I also like the work. Like, I like the work. I just don't like working on what I don't want to work on. Like, I could work
that one task, or
I could work 80 hours on something that I want to be doing, but the stuff I don't want to be doing, that's when I don't like the work. So it makes a difference. So
that's my goal in life.
But yeah, a lot of the big corporations, so if you work for these big companies, they like, nah, that was nice, but come on back to work. And people have to, because like, if you got a corporate job, you can't be like, whatever.
I'm trying to think what else would entice me? To come back.
Are they gonna pay you more to do the same job in the building?
Yeah, they're probably not gonna do that.
No,
So
they said they're adding more things for you to come back. So they saying, okay, we're realizing that this is a major shift for you to have to come back to work. So we're going to add daycare. We're going to do different things to entice people to come back. But a lot of people were like, okay, you can work from home. But some people couldn't get out of a lease, so they just paying for an empty office space because they were in a 5-year lease or a 20-year lease. I remember I was trying to get the post office to be a tenant. I was looking at a commercial space. This was back in Ohio, and I was like, ooh, I could get the post office to be my tenant? And it was like a 10-year lease that they paid like up front. So then, you replace post office with some company, and then they say, oh, okay, our employees can work from home. You paying for a space that's not being like used or whatever. So,
but I wonder, it's gonna be interesting to see like how creative these corporations are. Let's be for real. They were literally putting slides in buildings for adults. So,
well, you think about the impact that has on other businesses too. So say the post office is there, and you know, now Starbucks that's across the parking lot is dependent on that kind of traffic. And if that post office decides, hey, we all are sending mail from home, I don't know how that works, but anyway, but
somebody in their lazy boys,
right? The fact is that now all of the other places in that complex, and we've seen it locally, where complexes, are failing because that one major employer that was driving the traffic went virtual.
And I think that one of the biggest issues too, everything is cool when everything is running fine.
Sure.
But when you have a problem and the office hours are being reduced because people work from home or they on a different time zone, people get mad and then they start switching suppliers. They start switching companies because like so a part breaks down and you try to call and order a part or get somebody and they like, oh, we got new office hours. And I remember when this was definitely during COVID, I had a problem with something with Verizon, and I was on the phone with them for like 45 minutes, and I could hear kids in the background.
Could've been me.
The person told me they was at home working, and so yeah, it was like a big difference. And I can tell now, like sometimes when I call certain places, I'd be like, that person is at home. Like you could tell the conversation. You could.
We went through a lot with office etiquette during them COVID days.
And people still don't know how to use
during the
Zoom,
pandemic.
right,
Listen, we went through it. Okay, we went through it. People accidentally hanging up because they don't know how to work the new phone that they done got and all the things. You got people don't know how to put you on hold. You listening to kids playing and carrying on. We went through some things. So
let us know if you are experiencing a RTO, return to work
are you
situation.
Are you quitting?
Are you doing it? And what you prefer. So tell us about this current event that we got going on here.
Okay, so speaking of current events, Daniel Leo reports, he's a TikToker that reports a lot on Vegas things. So I saw this not too long ago. It reports that the $10 billion NBA district project in Las Vegas is currently on hold.
Yeah, they're talking about moving it or something.
Yes. So it's on hold, and like you said, they're talking about moving it. It was supposed to be at the Blue Diamond acquisition. So this is south of the Strip, which everybody was like, okay, we're feeling that. There's a lot. If you live in Las Vegas, you know there's a lot of development going north, but south of the Strip, they're like coming along. So this particular project would have been a huge boost for like the southern part of the Strip. And but Blue Diamond Acquisitions allegedly, I love using that word, allegedly wants a little bit more stake in this project. Well, Oakview Group, which is the developer of this project, they said, well, baby, we got options. And LVXP, another developer, has proposed that instead of building it down where Blue Diamond is on the south side of the Strip, that they move the project next to the Fontainebleau. There's a big piece of land there. And I don't know how much of the land that is, though, because this particular project on the south side of the Strip was going to take up 25 acres. It's a whole district. So it would have the arena in there. It would have another hotel, retail space, resident spaces as well. So it was going to be a whole mixed use type of situation. And I know we got the land down there.
Be that big.
I know
it couldn't be that big because that's right where like the convention center is on one side of
that's
it.
That's right. It's like it's not 25
it's
acres.
Landlocked.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what's the space that I was during the Super Bowl? I was gonna go to Kanye's concert, and I googled it.
Oh,
and
next
it was
to the
just
Trump
land.
Hotel.
Is that next to the Trump?
It's across the street from the Wynn, and where like the Trump Hotel,
like the fairgrounds.
Is that what they call it? The fairgrounds? I thought the fairgrounds was closer to like Fremont Street though.
It was like that is close to Fremont Street. It's like a pop up venue.
No, there's
like over there by Circus where they had like Rock in Rio there.
That's not there though.
Not there? Okay.
It's closer to, it's like right next to the Trump Hotel, right next to, right across the street from the Fashion Show Mall. It's just blank land there. Okay. They were supposed to build something there a long time ago.
They were supposed to do another tower of Trump, but they never did it. Cause I remember the first time we came to Las Vegas, this is kind of like weird. It was just like a little, not like a, you know how like you go to a gated and they have a little security person right there, but they had a little structure right there, and there was a homeless person just chilling inside of it. And we walked past and we were like, oh, it's an actual person.
yeah,
And
I
it was
remember
He
like,
didn't build a wall.
Yeah, right.
it was like 115 degrees out that day, and we was like, man, he just posted up in that
was just
little
chilling.
outhouse. But it's still a little bit of land down on the strip. I like the Blue Diamond thing because I think it would move the traffic. Like traffic wouldn't be so much.
Well, it's further down on the 15. So the 15 runs parallel to the strip. The I-15 runs parallel to the strip. So there's a lot of congestion that happens, and that starts right around when the 215 meets the I-15, and where the Allegiant Stadium is gets real congested. So we're talking about going south of that, where like the Silverton is, the Silverton Hotel, and they've been building up. And I think I would be interested to hear what some of these smaller businesses think about this whole, because they've been really building up that Blue Diamond area with new homes and new retail spaces and all of that stuff, probably in anticipation of this new project coming. And now it's on hold, and now y'all talking about, putting it smack in the middle of the strip. We also, by the way, they've taken down Tropicana. Well, it's still coming down in pieces. I'll do that. But and they're supposed to put the baseball stadium there.
Right.
And that's landlocked too. Like completely landlocked. If they get a grand slam, they're gonna hit something. They're gonna
But
hit
that's
a,
a small.
they gonna hit
venue.
a,
That's a small venue.
they're gonna hit Hooters. They're gonna
hit Hooters.
If they get a grand slam, they're gonna hit a window in the MGM.
Oyo.
That's how close it
Oyo
is.
now.
What is it? Oh, the Oyo. Okay, excuse me.
No longer.
But-
formerly known as Hooters.
But Oakview Group, they are a global company. They specialize in venue development. They also do like investments and entertainment advising and things like that. So they're and just so you know, they do complete their projects. They have a lot of completed projects. So this is not like, how
Like
we said,
Fountain
looked
Blue
like
for
the Fountain
20
Blue. I
years.
didn't want to call it out, but that one. Well, and it wasn't the Fountain Blue's problem.
Right.
So it was something
They bought
else.
it later.
Yeah, they bought it later. So we need to quit saying that. They actually completed it.
They open now.
Right. They're open. They're fine.
nice.
But they actually complete their projects. So they've got, a 36,000 square foot ice rink, NHL ice rink. They've got clubs. They've got other arenas around the nation and around. So they complete their projects. But I hope that they keep it down in Blue Diamond. I really, really do. I think that'll do well. And it's closer to where the M is, and the M Hotel is adding their second tower right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna fare well as well. So anyway, all
We
right.
see. I
Y'all
heard
really
that they
don't
may not get they're supposed to give Seattle back a team, and now that may be on hold too. They may be thinking about putting it in like another giving another country an expansion team instead of putting the Seattle Supersonics back in Seattle. So they might have like a London Log Worsters. No, I don't know what the name is gonna be, but
I don't. Where did you find that type of name?
I
What?
just made it.
I am tickled.
It's just
Log
that was
Worsters.
so like. Here you go.
No, you run out of names after a while. You got lions, tigers, bears. You know,
And log Worsters. Oh, well, all right then.
it's like the Washington Commanders. What is that?
It's better than a
Nah,
log
if
Worster.
it's gonna be London, it's got to be Harry Potter related. It got to be
I'm
the
way
Gryffindors.
Gryffindors. Well, then you have to have all four teams then. If that's
True,
the case,
true.
You gotta have all four teams. Okay. Ravenclaws. That's what I'm talking about. Copyright infringement everywhere. Anyway, let's get into our real estate minute of the day. So last week, the interest rate was announced that it dropped a whole 0.5%. Ding, 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 ding. All right. Now, what does that mean for you, right? You're like, okay, so who cares? Anything that's not locked in will move. okay? It'll move about 0.5%. That's going to affect you. But if you currently own a home, you have a locked-in mortgage, that's not going to affect you at all, really. Also, if you have a mortgage and you're thinking, oh, should I refinance now? Go ahead and talk to your loan officer about it and have them run the numbers and see if that makes sense. Because usually 0.5% doesn't make too much of a difference, if anything. And the fees and all that stuff might eat it up as well. So let's just stay put. Let's hold. We also do know when interest rates drop, guess what happens to the price? It goes up. So definitely we'll just keep watching. We talked about this earlier this year. Mm-hmm. We knew this was going to happen. It's an election year. And it happened right on cue. So if you are in the market for purchasing a home, then great. Your interest rate might be slightly lower, but keep working on your credit score, okay? That's going to affect your interest rate personally the most. You want to make sure that you are 620 or higher, right? So that you can get the best interest rate. And that is your real estate minute of the day. All right. Well, this was a riveting conversation. Mm-hmm. Let us know if you plan on returning to work or if you plan on continuing to watch us while you work. You see that? You see what I did there?
Catch you and Jenn at the content house.
Or, you know what you can do even better? You can say, you know what? I'm not coming back to work until you are streaming the Willis Team and At Home with the Willises every week at my job.
Put it in the offer letter.
Yes. You say, this is a non-negotiable. I have to watch At Home with the Willises every week. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Just go ahead and put it in there. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thanks guys so much for joining us. We will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful week. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you need real estate help here in Las Vegas, buy, sell, invest, we're happy to help. Just visit us at thewillisteamlv.com. All right, guys, have a great week.